Romuald was the founder of the Camaldolese order and a major figure in the 11th century Renaissance of eremitical asceticism. Life. According to the Vita by Peter Damian, written about 15 years after Romuald's death, Romuald was born in Ravenna, in northeastern Italy, to the aristocratic Wansti family. His father was Sergius degli Wansti and his mother was Traversa Traversari. As a youth, according to early accounts, Romuald indulged in the pleasures and sins of the world common to a 10th-century nobleman. At the age of 20 he served as second to his father, who killed a relative in a duel over property. Romuald was devastated, and went to the Basilica of Sant'Apollinare in Classe to do 40 days of penance. After some indecision, Romuald became a monk there. San Apollinare had recently been reformed by Saint Michael of Cluny Abbey, but still was not strict enough in its observance to satisfy Romuald. His injudicious correction of the less zealous aroused such enmity against him that he applied for, and was readily granted, permission to retire to Venice, where he placed himself under the direction of a hermit named Marinus and lived a life of extraordinary severity. About 978, Pietro Orseolari, Doge of Venice, who had obtained his office by acquiescence in the murder of his predecessor, began to suffer remorse for his crime. On the advice of Garinus, abbot of San Miguel de Cuxa, in Catalonia, and of Marinus and Romuald, he abandoned his office and relations, and fled to Cuxa, where he took the habit of Saint Benedict, while Romuald and Marinus erected a hermitage close to the monastery. Romuald lived there for about 10 years, taking advantage of the library of Cuxa to refine his ideas regarding monasticism. After that he spent the next 30 years going about Italy, founding and reforming monasteries and hermitages. His reputation being known to advisors of the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III. Romuald was persuaded by him to take the vacant office of abbot at Sant'Apollinare to help bring about a more dedicated way of life there. The monks, however, resisted his reforms, and after a year, Romuald resigned, hurling his abbot's staff at Otto's feet in total frustration. He then again withdrew to the eremitical life. In 1012 he arrived at the diocese of Arezzo. Here, according to the legend, a certain Maldulus, who had seen a vision of monks in white garments ascending into heaven, gave him some land, afterwards known as the Campus Malduli, or Camaldoli. Saint Romuald built on this land 5 cells for hermits, which, with the monastery at Fonte Buono, built 2 years later, became the famous mother house of the Camaldolese order. Romuald's daunting charisma awed Rainier of Tuscany, who was neither able to face Romuald nor to send him away. Romuald founded several other monasteries, including the monastery of Val di Castro, where he died in 1027. Romuald's feast day was not included in the Tridentine calendar. It was added in 1594 for celebration on the 19th of June, the date of his death. But in the following year it was transferred by Pope Clement VIII to the 7th of February, the anniversary of the transfer of his relics to Fabriano in 1481, and in 1969 it was moved back to the day of his death. Saint Romuald's rule. In his youth Romuald became acquainted with 3 major schools of Western monastic tradition. Sant'Apollinare in Classe was a traditional Benedictine monastery under the influence of the Cluniac reforms. Marinus followed a much harsher, ascetic and solitary lifestyle, which was originally of Irish eremitic origins. The abbot of Sant Miguel de Cuxa, Garinus, had also begun reforms but mainly built upon a third Christian tradition, that of the Iberian Peninsula. Romuald was able to integrate these different traditions and establish his own monastic order. The admonition in his rule, "Empty yourself completely and sit waiting," places him in relation to the long Christian history of intellectual stillness and interior passivity and meditation, also reflected in the nearly contemporary Byzantine ascetic practice known as hesychasm. Sit in your cell as in paradise. Put the whole world behind you and forget it. Watch your thoughts like a good fisherman watching for fish. The path you must follow is in the Psalms, never leave it. If you have just come to the monastery, and in spite of your goodwill you cannot accomplish what you want, take every opportunity you can to sing the Psalms in your heart and to understand them with your mind. And if your mind wanders as you read, do not give up. Hurry back and apply your mind to the words once more. Archbishop Cosmo Francesco Ruppi noted that interiorization of the spiritual dimension, the primacy of solitude and contemplation, slow penetration of the Word of God and calm meditation on the Psalms are the pillars of Camaldoli's spirituality, which St. Romuald gives as the essential core of his rule. Romuald's reforms provided a structural context to accommodate both the eremitic and cenobitic aspects of monastic life.